Hi, I'm Shrey Sharma. There are two ways you can build a product company according to my experience.
मैंने अपनी Salesforce जर्नी भी आपके वीडियो से स्टार्ट करी थी.
Thank you so much.
For your journey so far, entrepreneurial journey, if you want to make a movie out of it, how would you title that?
Adventurous.
Adventures, wow, okay.
Hi, I'm Shrey Sharma. I started my journey when I was 19 years old with training people. Created a company, S2 Labs, where that's a Salesforce training company. Then quickly ramped up my career into running a consulting company, that is Cyntexa. And yeah, that's what I do.
So how to think like an entrepreneur is my question for you.
Since you've asked about the mindset of an entrepreneur, I think for me it is relatively different. It's a way of life. I mean, all what we all are doing, even as an employee or as an employer or as an entrepreneur, is providing value in some form or the other. If you want to provide value at a particular scale, there's no other way other than becoming an entrepreneur, because especially if you want to do it the way you want to do it, right? So it's a way of life. It's not about being a business owner, business person. A lot of people are actually entrepreneurs who are working into the organizations and are actually executing, living the life of an entrepreneur daily, regularly in that business itself. So entrepreneurship as a mindset is nothing but creation of value at scale with some responsibility or ownership attached to it, not just mentally but emotionally, if there is some sense about it. And at the end of the day, when you talk about money, skill set, impact and everything, these are just byproducts. When you do something in your life, like when you play badminton, right? Do you actually think about, do you only play when you want to get fitter, or do you play to just play, right? So if you are that kind of a person who wants to play, then you should be an entrepreneur. There's no other way out. But if you really want an output that if I'm going to play badminton and I should get fit out of it, then you have to take a call whether you should do it or not, because the 90% success, 90% failure ratio is of course going to be there. So if you take the entrepreneurship as a mindset, it's a way of life, and the money, accolades, fames, success is all subjective reality, and it is a byproduct at the end of the day. A lot of people do a lot of hard work, they do not get it. A lot of people like me do no hard work and get it just by luck, right? So that's a byproduct. But if you're doing only for the byproduct and calculating the success accordingly, I don't think you're in it for the right reasons. If you want to do it for the sake of doing it, for the value creation that you want to do out there for yourself and for the people around you, or for the people out there in the world, then just get into it. And as everybody said, I'll just state that in an easier way. Be willing to do whatever it takes is all what entrepreneurship is all about.
Absolutely, I agree with that. And when when I'm talking about success and failures, setbacks are going to come. That is for sure, and you have to be prepared for it. But sometimes it does happen that you were not expecting this to happen. You were all passionate about it. You would go all in, and then there is a setback, unexpected one, uncalculated one, and there are always. How to handle those setbacks? Of course, mindset helps, but what other than mindset helps to overcome that struggle and come out of it and start all over?
So the question that you asked was how to handle the setbacks.
Yeah, I mean, how do you handle?
As an entrepreneur, or even as an employee, what choice do you have? I mean, at the end of the day, tomorrow morning, the situation, whatever you've got yourself into, is going to be the same. The way you respond back to it is something that is something in your control. The situations are definitely not in your control. A lot of time when people become entrepreneurs, what they actually do is they get entangled into the journey rather than being involved into it. And they do not clear a clear boundary between being entangled and being involved. While being too involved, they just get entangled into it, and they just think that whatever the success of the business or the failure of the business or whatever is happening into the business is happening into their life. There's no clear separation between the business life that is going on and the personal life that they're managing and everything. And I think that's exactly where things go wrong. So other than managing the set, wake up next morning, what choice do you have? You have salaries to pay. You can't cry for 7 days, right? So that's what it is.
My question was,
whenever when you're talking to people around, and especially the people who are not in business, okay, I get to hear a lot that business is the baby, I'll start like that, it's important, if something happens like that. So people have the mindset that business is my baby. How difficult it is for them to segregate the two entities, as you were saying, right? It's part of life, it's not everything, yet a lot, in your life. How do you handle that? Is that the correct mindset? Is that not the correct thing to say? Your views on that.
See, by the definition, by the economic definition of what a business is, it's a value-making machine. At the end of the day, you're building a machine which is generating value in different forms. For the clients, it is generating value for the technical solutions that we are providing. For the employees, it is generating value for the salaries that they're getting paid, for the expenses that they're making, and along the way, it is generating value for every vendor that is associated with it and for it. Right. At the end of the day, it is a value-making machine. If the value-making machine is taking more of the inputs and generating less of the outputs, it is not a value-making machine, but it's a value-taking machine. So if it is a value-taking machine, you have to identify it as a value-taking machine and leave it.
Yeah.
And the sooner you leave it, the better it's going to be for you.
Absolutely.
So your baby is never
at the end of the day, when you take, and also by the way, I want to add on more sense onto it, right? Even your baby is not really yours.
Yeah.
It's not an investment that you can expect a return out of.
Yes.
It can go fail, right? After 20 years, ask all of the people who have invested heavily onto their kids. It might be a success, it might be a failure.
Yes.
So they have to bear with it.
Yes, absolutely. So true, so true. With that note, now there's coming a controversial question over here. Okay, most of the folks that are sitting here, some may be entrepreneurs, but I'll tell you a lot of folks that are, they're employed with entrepreneurs, they're working with them. And we got to hear this a lot, we do this, we do that, we're not getting back what we exactly want, the company had expropriated, we didn't get that one. Entrepreneurs are working on, basis their timings, they come 11, they go 5, and I know what goes behind that 11 and 5, I'm absolutely sure of that, what is happening. I see that in my home day, in and out. That's 24 hours a day, I know that, you have no timing, but for the audience, what is your take on that? What message do you want to pass on to the people who are working hard for your organization, or not organization for the sake of it? That what goes into making business, and we're not watching movies going back home.
I'll tell you a story about it, right? I think many of us might have heard it already. So there was a father and a son who were walking along with a donkey. The world said that I'll use Hindi, right? If everyone's comfortable. Is everyone comfortable? Yes. Because I know it in Hindi, right? Okay. कि देखो कितने बेवकूफ है, गधे के साथ जा रहे, बैठ के ही चले जाए. ठीक है. Then the father, what the father did कि बच्चे को बिठा दिया, and then he was like walking, and the kid was like sitting on top of the donkey, and then the world said कि देखो कितना जालिम बच्चा है, पिताजी को तो पैदल चला रहा है और खुद गधे पे चल रहा है. फिर बच्चे को सुना, बच्चे ने बोला बाबा आप बैठ जाते हो, मैं उतर जाता हूँ, तो उनको बैठा दिया. फिर उसके बाद दुनिया ने बोला कि पापा देखो कितने जालिम, बच्चे को तो पैदल चला रहे हैं और खुद अब गधे पे चल रहे हैं. फिर उन्होंने दोनों सुना, अब क्या करें, दोनों चलने लगे. फिर दुनिया ने बोला कि देखो कितने जालिम है, बेचारे गधे के ऊपर दो लद के जा रहे हैं. So at the end of the day, the world will always have some story to tell about you. As an entrepreneur, you should not be bothered about it. That's the golden rule of it, number one. Number two, there are phases of business. As an entrepreneur, it's also very important that you as a leader set the right example for the people that are working along with you while you're building the thing. Once you've built it, of course, as you all have said already, you're going to enjoy the perks of you're going to enjoy the fruits of the seed that you've sown earlier, and now in your farm you've got enough of trees of mango, and now you're eating mango, relaxing in the shade of that mango tree. That's something that you build for yourself, so have no shame and no guilt about it. I think that's what it is.
Absolutely, I agree with that. You guys put it very, the best way that anybody can. We spoke about service company, sales company, and then if we have to go to the products. Ideas are many. The problem is with the execution. Many struggles with that. I think if we ask how many have ideas to build a product, I might say, see a lot of hands up. How to execute, how to get started with it is of course one thing, but then how do you ensure that your execution is going in the right path? Of course, there's no set formula for it. I do understand that. But what is your take on that? What has been your journey? Somebody can learn from it.
You asked about the difference between the idea and the execution thing.
I was just trying to understand how to fill in that gap, right? When you have an idea, you start with that idea, and what is the biggest hurdle when you try to execute it?
I think how Sir described it is absolutely what it is. There are two ways you can build a product company, according to my experience, little experience and a little understanding. Number one, the best way how Indians have always done it, and I think how it is actually becomes it has always become successful is figuring out what is already working into a particular market, try to replicate that into your own market, and figuring out what is the unique value proposition that you're bringing onto the table for the customers to choose your product over the others, rather than trying out your own idea and building an application on top of it, because it requires a lot of resources. The reason why we are saying again and again that all of the product companies are coming from US, because they've got huge resources, right? We don't have those resources. We don't have that VC circles. We don't have those huge capital printing machines that US has. So of course that's going to be the case. They're more open and comfortable with the failures, and of course there are more failures over there than the success stories. But as the world works, only the success stories gets marketed out there in the world. That is why we say that there are more product companies which are successful in US, because they they're very, if you talk about the percentage of them, it's going to be like the percentage of failures that are there in US are relatively more than the percentage of failures that are there in India. So the best way to build a product is, of course, don't be the first one. That's a practical way, right? Don't be the first one. Don't be the innovator, kind of. And that is the problem with most of the developers and architects out there. They want to be the most innovative one. They want to build the most innovative solution that no one has ever done it. Don't do it. There is a reason why no one has ever done it. The answer lies in the question.
What is one thing that you want to, if you wish you would have known when you started in the early days, when you started the business, would have helped you, and your journey would have been, a little bit more easier, if not smooth. It could have saved you some dollars, some money, some resources, or something, something that I didn't mention, but anything that you want to go back and tell yourself. Of course, your chapter is still going on. There's a lot which is coming and coming soon, coming more, bigger, better. But your journey so far. If you have to give it a title, make a movie out of it, what title would you give it? And if you can say, why are you choosing that title? So something. For your journey so far, entrepreneurial journey, if you want to make a movie out of it, how would you title that and why?
Adventurous.
Adventurous, wow, okay. And any reason why you're picking up this wonderful title? It has been one?
Yeah, it was adventurous. I mean, it was fun. I mean, it was giving me that kick, right? I mean, it was giving that maza aa raha hai. Maza aa raha hai, right?
That's right.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Okay, while other than thinking and you picked up a title adventure, maybe you can help us with the most interesting thing in your journey, which whenever you think about your entrepreneurship, your journey, what is that one memory that pops up?
It's always the people.
Oh, wow.
It's always the people.
Wow. Okay, what an answer. Okay. Wonderful. Anybody else? People are absolutely important for their journey. They're important for us. We're important. Again, as I say, it's a world where we all need to coexist and help each other build bigger and better things. Thank you so much. Lovely panel, lovely cause that I shared today. Thank you so much.